You wake up in the middle of the night. The house is completely silent. The power has gone out. No streetlights shining through the window. No glow from a television or phone screen. Just darkness. You know you're safe. You're in your own home. Yet your heart beats a little faster. You find yourself listening more carefully than usual. Every creak seems important. Every shadow feels as if it might be hiding something. You tell yourself there's nothing there. Still, a small part of your mind isn't entirely convinced, and that's a little strange when you think about it. Human beings have walked on the moon. We've built skyscrapers that touch the clouds. We can talk to someone on the other side of the world in an instant. So why does a dark room still make us uneasy? Why does an empty forest feel completely different after sunset? And why does a fear that first appeared thousands of generations ago still live inside us today? To answer that question, we have to travel back long before cities, long before farming, and long before civilization itself. Back to a time when darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, it was a genuine threat. For most of human history, night belonged to something else. During the day, our ancestors were surprisingly capable. They could spot movement across open landscapes, track animals over great distances, and work together in groups to solve problems. But once the sun disappeared, the balance changed. Human vision is not especially good in low light. Compared with many predators, we're at a serious disadvantage. A lion can see far better than we can at night. Owls can hunt in conditions that would leave us nearly blind. Even smaller predators gain an enormous advantage once darkness settles in. Our ancestors didn't learn this from biology textbooks. They learned it from experience. Imagine standing on an African plain 100,000 years ago. The sun has just dropped below the horizon. The air begins to cool. Daytime sounds fade away. New sounds emerge from the darkness. Somewhere beyond the edge of your vision, something may be watching. You can't see it, but it can see you. For millions of years, humans were not only hunters, we were prey. That's the part of the story people often forget. We tend to picture ancient humans as fearless masters of nature, confidently dominating everything around them. The archaeological evidence paints a different picture. Researchers have discovered ancient human remains bearing the marks of predator attacks. Lions, leopards, hyenas, and other powerful hunters sometimes preyed upon our ancestors. Before humans became the dominant species on Earth, we spent an extraordinarily long time trying not to become someone else's meal, and nighttime made that challenge much harder. But predators weren't the only reason darkness felt dangerous. The human brain played a role as well. In fact, some of our fears come from the way the brain handles uncertainty. Imagine hearing a rustling sound in nearby bushes. You have two choices. You can assume it's the wind, or you can assume it's a predator. If you're wrong about the wind, the consequences could be fatal. If you're wrong about the predator, you've only wasted a little energy. Over countless generations, natural selection favored the cautious response. The individuals who reacted quickly to possible danger often survived long enough to pass their genes on to the next generation. In a very real sense, fear was cheaper than being wrong. That tendency still lives inside us today. Scientists who study perception have discovered something fascinating about the human mind. When information is incomplete, the brain doesn't simply wait for more data, it fills in the blanks. Sometimes it gets the answer right, sometimes it doesn't. That's why a pile of clothes in a dark bedroom can suddenly look like a person. Why tree branches outside a window can seem almost alive. Why harmless noises become far more unsettling after midnight. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when this happens. It's following a survival strategy that has been refined over an incredibly long period of time. And darkness creates the perfect conditions for that strategy to take over. After all, darkness doesn't just hide predators, it hides information. Humans are deeply visual creatures. A large portion of the brain is devoted to processing what we see. When vision is removed, certainty disappears with it. The result is often anxiety. Researchers have found that people placed in completely dark environments can experience surprisingly unusual sensations. Some report hearing sounds that aren't really there. Others feel as though someone is standing nearby. Many become disoriented far more quickly than they expect. Nothing dangerous is actually happening, yet the brain behaves as though danger could appear at any moment. Because for most of human history, that possibility was very real. Then, at some point, everything began to change. Around 400,000 years ago, our ancestors learned how to control fire. It may have been one of the most important breakthroughs in human history. Not writing, not agriculture, not even the wheel. Fire. Because fire accomplished something extraordinary. For the first time, humans could push back against the darkness. A campfire doesn't seem revolutionary today, but to our ancestors, it changed everything. Suddenly there was light after sunset. Predators often kept their distance from flames. Visibility improved. People could gather together, share food, tell stories, and strengthen social bonds. The night became a little less frightening. What's especially interesting is that fire didn't eliminate fear, it reshaped it. Beyond the circle of light, darkness still remained. People could now see the boundary between safety and uncertainty. Inside the glow of the fire, security. Outside it, mystery. Our brains became remarkably sensitive to that line. Even today, campfires create a similar feeling. People naturally stare into the flames. Conversations become easier. The body relaxes, yet at the same time we're aware of the darkness beyond the firelight. An ancient instinct quietly continues to operate beneath modern life. But here's the twist. Fear of darkness wasn't simply a weakness. In many ways, it became one of humanity's greatest advantages. Fear focuses attention. Attention encourages preparation. Preparation improves the chances of survival. Groups that respected danger often lasted longer than groups that ignored it. The people who stayed alert survived. Their children inherited many of the same tendencies. Generation after generation, those instincts became woven into the fabric of human nature. In a strange way, our fear helped build civilization itself. Think about what fear encourages people to do. It encourages them to gather together, to build shelters, to protect one another, to create walls, tools, weapons, and eventually artificial light. Every effort to overcome darkness pushed human innovation forward. The problem helped create the solution, and even after electric lights transformed the world, the old programming never completely disappeared. Most people today will never face a lion outside their door after sunset, but the ancient alarm system remains active. Your nervous system doesn't fully understand that it's living in the 21st century. It responds to patterns that helped human beings survive for hundreds of thousands of years. That's why horror movies rarely take place at noon, why an empty hallway feels different at midnight than it does at lunchtime. Why a dark basement can seem unsettling even when logic tells you it's harmless. The emotional reaction arrives first. Reason usually catches up afterward, but the deepest part of the story goes beyond predators and survival. Throughout history, cultures all over the world filled darkness with meaning. Monsters, spirits, demons, mysterious forces lurking beyond human understanding. Yet these stories often pointed towards something larger. Human beings fear what they cannot see, not only with their eyes, but with their minds. We fear uncertain futures, hidden dangers, questions that have no clear answers. Over time, darkness became a symbol for everything beyond our control. And perhaps that's one reason the fear has endured for so long, because uncertainty has never disappeared. Even in a world overflowing with artificial light, we still face the unknown every day. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. We don't know how every decision will shape our future. We don't know what may be waiting around life's next corner. The ancient fear remains. It has simply taken on new forms. So the next time you're lying awake in a dark room, listening to sounds that suddenly seem louder than they should, remember this. The feeling isn't irrational. It's ancient. It's an echo carried forward from countless generations who survived because they treated darkness with respect. Your fear is a message from people who lived before cities existed, before history was written down, before civilization began. And here's the final irony. The darkness itself was never really the enemy. Darkness is only the absence of light. What our ancestors truly feared was uncertainty, the possibility that something might be there. That lesson still matters today. Because some of life's greatest discoveries, opportunities, and moments of growth exist just beyond the edge of what we can currently see. Humanity did not advance by eliminating the darkness. We advanced by learning how to walk into it anyway, one careful step at a time, carrying a little light with us.